Alright, in this next video here, to replace the screen so it looks like a notification pops up, there's two processes. There's the corner pinning, or tracking the picture to here, and then there's the actual process of making this thing, making the push notification in the video. Okay, so what I did is I looked for, iPhone text notification, so this kind of screen here, and then we're going to kind of rebuild it inside of After Effects, and then we're going to track it to the footage. Okay, so let's get started here. I'm going to import my notification thing here. I'm going to right-click, New Count from Selection, and now I'm going to use a couple of techniques to get this same kind of look. For text, it's just right up here at the top. Click, and we'll do, I don't know, it's smiley o'clock apparently. It's 9:15. You might have to look through a few different fonts over here on the side to find one that's similar. I know that Kozuka Gothic PRN and 6N, whatever that is a very good match. So here I made my own time, made my own date stamp, and you're going to go through and type in all the different things, including icons, in here to fill it up. To make the background, we're going to do a simple gradient from blue to brown here. So I'm going to go to Layer, New, Solid. Okay, and then we're going to go find an effect, and it's called Ramp. We're going to take Ramp, we're going to drag it on there, and the top color is going to be this kind of dark grayish blue, and the bottom color is going to be kind of like an orange grayish brown here. Okay, that looks very similar to that. In fact, the blue might be a little bit darker. Yep, that's good enough. Now I need to make some of the other icons. What I recommend is, as much as possible, try and find other icons, through here, independent layers through there. You could even keep this very simple and then just make the text on here. Okay. You could do it where we just cover up this stuff right here, or maybe the text part right here, and kind of put in our own stuff. Maybe we do something like that. In order to get these colors to match here on the ramp, if we click on the color chip here, and then click on the color there, and then click on the color here, that's going to make it a lot better. So I'm just covering up where the time is, and then I'd fill in some of the other text pieces with whatever the text alert is. And you also need to animate the text coming in. Alright, so here I have a message that came in from Mr. Bass. Not a very nice message, but, moving on. So we're going to animate this text message coming in. We want it to slide up a little bit, and then the opacity to change over a little bit of time here. So I'm going to open up the triangle here next to the message. We're going to go to Transform, and I'm going to do Position, and I'm going to do Opacity. Okay. Now, when I want the text to come in, which is just a few seconds, or a second into the video, I'm going to have, that's where those diamonds here, those keyframes are going to line up. Okay? And then I move behind the diamonds a little ways. Okay, so at 1 second, you don't have to do this exact time. And at 1 second, the message is going to be there. At a little bit before 1 second, I'm going to have the message come from down here a little bit, and it's going to be opacity 0. So it's going to go from opacity 0 at this keyframe to opacity 100. So it appears just like that. And if you want to get real fancy with it, highlight these, right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease in, and that'll just kind of make it slide in a little bit softer. Not a big deal. So this composition, the notification, is done. Now this composition is 2 minutes long. I don't need it to be that long, so I'm going to go to Composition, Settings. So this flyout menu here, Composition Settings. I'm going to change the time here from 2 minutes 15 seconds to 0 minutes 15 seconds, and maybe even shorter still, maybe just 10 seconds. Okay, so now we're ready to put it into the regular composition. Over here on the project files, so the footage, MVI73, which is where Elijah gets the text message, we're going to right click, New Comp from Selection, and we're going to put our notification composition in here, like so. Okay. Now we have to arrange it so it fits in onto the camera here. So we're going to toggle switches and modes down at the bottom. We're going to turn it on to be 3-dimensional. And we're going to warp it in 3 dimensions so it kind of lays on the surface at the beginning here. So open it up, transform, and here we go, orientation. So I'm going to start by rotating the z-axis. So X, Y, and Z under orientation, and rotate it that way. Put it down there. Rotate it this way. Rotate it that way. Rotate the Y. And I'm trying to get it lined up because I know that it shows up as a perfect rectangle in here, so I'm trying to get the right perspective. And then I'll just slightly increase the scale. And that's pretty good. The other part of this is that I want it to look like it's blending in with the screen. So again, I'm going to click on Toggle Switches and Modes, and we're going to go to Mode here, which is normal, and we'll do maybe Lighten. That works pretty good. So Lighten works pretty good. But if I go forward in time here, you see it kind of just jumps around. So what we need to do is we need to track the footage so that the screen that we put in there stays put. Alright, so I'm going to turn this off, go here, and we're going to do some tracking. So, Window, Tracker, and Track Motion. We're going to do Position, Rotation, and Scale. All 3 targets. And we're going to make a new layer. That's going to be Layer, New, Null Object. And that's where all the information is going to get applied to. So we're going to Edit Target. Null 3 should be the layer. So Layer, Apply Motion to, Null 3. Again, that's what I added the target to. Now these little bits here, I'm going to put these in good locations so that they can track and it's not going to be, they're not going to wiggle around too much. So these letters are pretty good, and this little sliver of light is pretty good too. You want it when someplace where there's a nice consistent edge or point the whole time. Maybe on that Minnesota logo there. And again, we want to try and keep these points very small so that it can think through the footage easily. Now I know that one problem with the footage is towards the end of the footage, the camera lifts up really quick, and I know that these tracking points aren't going to be able to keep up with the camera movement. So we're going to have to do some other stuff when we get to there. For now, we're going to analyze the targets right here, and you're going to see them move with the footage. I'm going to stop it and okay, here in the movie, this is where it starts to, the camera starts to pull up very, very quickly, and it's going to lose our tracking points here. So I'm going to analyze it in a different way. I hit stop here, and then I'm just going to do one frame analyzing at a time. Now once it starts to lose its points and mess up, then I'm going to switch to a different method of getting the motion. So I go forward. If it loses its track, I just, oh, yep. So now it's having a very hard time finding the track point. Okay, so at this stage, I'm going to have to do the tracks on my own. But I'm going to apply this tracking information to the null object. So under here, I'm going to hit apply because my target is null 3. So I'm going to apply it to null 3. And that's going to work for the most part. You can see it took the position, scale, and rotation here, made keyframes for null 3. So now I can take my notification thing here, and I'm going to parent it. To null 3. Now I made sure I went all the way back to the beginning so it lined up real nice again, and then I parented it, because now, for as long as that tracking information is there, it's going to go with it. Now what happens is, yeah, it kind of lifts off the screen once the motion gets too much. So now I'm going to have to hand animate these last few frames. I open up notifications, and I'm going to go to position. I'm going to click on scale, and I'm going to do orientation. And what I do is I go a few frames forward, push page down on the keyboard, and then I basically just move it into place. And if I have to rotate it, then I do that in the orientation. I rotate the Z. Okay, page down, right down, rotate it. And it's tricky getting everything to kind of stay in the right balance here. Move it, rotate it. I am not doing a great job with this, okay? But I'm going to continue to do this until it's all the way out of frame and everything looks good and that footage is done.